to healing. The LGBTQ community is no stranger to healing or unity. Healing by its very definition means the process of making or becoming sound and healthy again. Healing can be painful and difficult, but having the courage to confront your hurt and anger lifts you to a healthier place. Healing is much more than getting better or making our problems disappear. Healing is growth, development, and recovery. Healing is change, and it requires time. On one hand, being united involves the submergence of differences and recognition of a higher or stronger connections. On the other hand, diversity, we celebrate differences. We recognize and appreciate unique characteristics that separate us. At some level, the concepts must be seen as contradictory. One involves unification and the other involves separation. Yet somehow, by merging the concepts, the LGBT community and our allies are stronger than would otherwise be the case. Tonight is about healing and about unity. Without further ado, I welcome His Worship, Mayor John Henry.
Good evening, and first of all, thank you for being here tonight. And I'd like to introduce my members of council, and you have us all here. We're in the midst of a council meeting. So today with me is Councillor John Aker, Councillor Gail Bates, Councillor Dan Carter, Councillor Rob Chapman, Councillor Amy England, Councillor Rick Kerr, Councillor John Neal, Councillor Nestor Bitterbecky, and Councillor John Shields. But I'm also proud to have out here with us tonight our City Manager, Jag Sharma. We have Commissioner of Corporate Services, Bev Henry, Paul Ralph, Commissioner of Development Services, Stephanie Sinnott, Director of Finance, David Potzer, City Solicitor, and quite a large crowd of Team Oshawa, and thank you for coming out tonight. You know, tonight we're gathered around to remember families and friends of those who were killed in a mass shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando last year. They gathered at the club to mark the first anniversary of that mass shooting today, where 49 people were killed and 50 others were injured on June 12th of 2016, when a gunman opened fire in a nightclub. The City of Orlando, in collaboration with the Pulse nightclub, declared today in Orlando the Orlando United Day, a day of love and kindness. This day is dedicated to the memory and honor of 49 innocent people whose lives were taken at the Pulse, reaffirms their community commitment to the survivors and loved ones, as well as recognize the global compassion and love displayed in a wake of tragedy. You know, it's sad that a group of friends went out one night for an evening of drinks and dancing. They went to a nightclub, like the rest of us. This just happened to be a gay nightclub. And all of a sudden, the lives of 49 people changed, their families and countless other people around the world. And it saddens me today that this goes on. And I struggled this afternoon. I was looking for someone that had an appropriate quote that kind of covered the event, and I found this. We stand with you to say that good in this world far outweighs the evil, that our common humanity transcends our differences, and that our most effective response to terror and hatred is compassion, its unity, and its love. We stand with you today, and we grieve together, and long after the cameras are gone, we will continue to stand with you as we grow together in our commitment in solidarity and equality. I want to thank you for coming here tonight. I want you to thank you for remembering this. And can we live in a time, in our lifetime, where terrorism doesn't exist anywhere in the world? That people can go to a nightclub or a concert and not worried about what will happen. Today you're making a difference standing here and showing that Oshawa cares. Thank you for being here tonight. I wish that we could spend the rest of the evening with you, but we have to go back in for the remainder of the council meeting. But thank you for making a difference, and thank you for being here.
We want a rainbow sidewalk! We want a rainbow sidewalk!
We want a rainbow sidewalk! We want a rainbow sidewalk!
Thank you to Mayor John Henry. And now I'm going to invite Dr. Barb Perry, President of Pflag Canada Durham Region.
A year ago, we stood together in Oshawa to mourn the loss of 49 lives in Orlando. So too did our friends and allies across Canada in cities large and small. That act of terrorism at Pulse was not just an attack on those queer and trans Latinos in Orlando, but on all members of the community. Like all hate crimes, it's meant to send a message to all that they're not welcome, that they're not valued in a cisgender, heteronormative culture. It's a stark reminder that queer people continue to be vilified and, yes, despised by some. It's no coincidence that murders occurred during Pride Month. What more symbolic timing could there be? A time that should have been reserved for love and celebration became just a few hours a time of mourning and a time of hate. Like all of you, I still ache when I think of Orlando, when I hear their names, as we're about to tonight. Many of us continue to grieve not just the lives lost this time last year in Orlando, but also all of the other unheralded lives snuffed out by homophobic and transphobic violence. We grieve the daily reminders that LGBT folks are other. We remember the insults and the harassment online, the street slurs, the exclusion from public spaces and public places. These are all reminders of the distance yet to travel in ensuring full recognition of LGBTQ rights and security. I have two particular fears today. One is the planned release of federal hate crime data tomorrow. And I suspect that in general we're going to see increases across the board in all forms of hate crime. I suspect what we're going to see also is a continuing trend where the violence against LGBTQ communities is the most violent, the most horrific, as if to erase identities for that particular community relative to other protected categories. My second fear is related to this, and in fact I think helps to explain the increase in hate crime. This past year has seen a resurgence of hate, indeed the normalization of hate, thanks to an out-of-control president in the United States. I don't remember an election that garnered such hatred and its counterpart such fear. We must remain vigilant in pushing back against the xenophobia, the racism, the homophobia and transphobia that Trump has inspired. Remember that the Orlando victims were virtually all Latinos, a reminder of the multiple and intersecting layers of risk that characterize the LGBTQ community. On the other hand, I also see reason for hope. As is often the case following such heinous assaults, communities and their allies find renewed energy and solidarity. I remember being in an airport in Washington, D.C. the morning of June 13th, waiting for my flight home. Two women from Orlando were sitting just across from me. I heard them talking about the attack, and I reached out to them to offer my regrets, my pain to them. By the time we boarded the plane, we were all in tears, but embraced as old friends. We're strangers made friends by our shared grief. We saw this across the country, across North America and beyond. The Pulse shooting touched queers and allies everywhere. Back in Oshawa again, through his pain, Adrian challenged us to channel our rage into something good. We can. We did turn love into hate. Sorry, hate into love. Freudian slip. Hate into love. Fear into courage. Despair into hope. We continue to inspire change, as we like to say at Pflag. Many of us, perhaps more than usual, attended Toronto Pride last year. Conversations opened up about LGBTQ rights and inclusion. I happened to sit on a panel about Orlando just about a month ago in Winnipeg, and beside me was Terry DiCarlo, the ED of the center, which was ground zero for support during and immediately after the shootings at Pulse. For days after the attack, thousands of people came to the center, not only for support, but to provide it in counseling services, in cases of water, in food, in ways both tangible and intangible. This signifies the resilience of the community, but also the fact that there are more allies than enemies amongst us. Last year, Adrian also asked us to find our inner activist. We have a loud and proud queer community here in Durham and Oshawa. Let's all find a way to push back against homophobia and transphobia, to challenge it where we see it, and to support those who are targeted. March in Toronto Pride on June 25th. Volunteer with any one of our LGBTQ community organizations. Educate against uninformed and intentional homophobia and transphobia. Let's answer hate with love.
And I'd like to bring up the readers from Pflag Youth.
Stanley Almodovar III, Amanda Alvier, Oscar A. Marcina Montero, Rodolfo Ayala, Antonio David Mount, Daryl Raymond Burt III, Jonathan A. Roy Vega, Angel L. Candario Pedro, Simon Adrian Juan Chavez Martinez,
Luis Daniel Conde, Corey James Connell, Tevin Eugene Crosby, Frankie Jimmy De Jesus Ledwith, Bianca Diandra Drayton.
Leroy Valentin Fernandez, Mercedes Brizo Flores, Peter Gonzalez Cruz, Juan Ramon Guerrero, Paul Terrell, Henry.
Frank Hernandez, Miguel Ángel Honorato, Javier Jorge Reyes, Jason Benjamin Josaphat, Eddie Jamoldry Justice, Anthony Luis Laureano Isla, Christopher Andrew Lenonen, Brenda Lee Marquez Menjuel, Alejandro Barrios Martínez, Jean Carlos Mendez Perez, Kimberly Morris, Akira Monet Murray, Jean C. Nieves Rodríguez, Luis Omar Ocasio Capo, Geraldo A. Ortiz Jiménez, Erice Iván Ortiz Rivera, Joel Rayón Paniagua, Enrique Ríos, Juan P. Rivera Velázquez, Ilmari Rodríguez Oliván,
Christopher Joseph Santafles, Xavier Emmanuel Serrano Rosado, Gilberto Ramon Silva Menendez, Edward Sotomayor Jr., Shane Evan Tomlinson, Martin Bennett Torres, Luis Velma, Luis Daniel Wilson Leon, Gerard Arthur Wright. These are the individuals who suffered in Orlando.
So please join me in a moment of silence. I invite Kathy Richardson from Uniform.
You had some really good speakers before me. You had the mayor and you had the Pflag president. And tonight we remember those 49 names that the kids read off. And every one of those 49 individuals had families and friends that are still hurting today. And everywhere around the world, everybody felt what happened in Orlando. And we're very lucky that we live in Canada. There's good things and bad things in Canada, but we hopefully have a more safe environment for our community and pride. I love the t-shirt, Keep Dancing Orlando. I love it. And as we leave tonight and we think and go forward, we share love and we know love can conquer, and we just have to keep that focus and love one another and be good to each other and find the good in all. Thank you.
To close off our evening, I'm going to invite Adrian Betts, Executive Director of the AIDS Committee in Durham Region.
here a year ago and gave probably the most difficult speech of my life. I hadn't read it or heard it back until this weekend when I thought I should revisit what I said, because I honestly don't remember much of that moment. All I know is I've been asked to speak about bringing, Jamie had said, please calm people down and talk about uniting as a community and about taking care of each other. And I hope I did that. But it was the toughest speech I've ever written in my life because I was seething with rage, like seething with it. But the great thing about what happened in writing that speech and then sharing it with you last year is that it was the most cathartic thing I could possibly do. Because it gave me a voice for that anger, and it made me channel it and turn it into love. Within days of the attack and the massacre of these 49 beautiful people, we saw how the world reacted in ways of strength, and we saw how the world reacted in ways of fear and ignorance. There was one family member who denied his son in death. The body had to be claimed by his sister because the parents wanted nothing to do with him. Shane Tomlinson's church would refuse to bury him. His family had to make such a stink, and there were offers from all over the state from that point forward to bury Shane in their cemeteries. What this teaches us is that we have so much more to do. I said last year, find your inner activist. Activism starts in our own homes, with our own families. Coming out could be the toughest thing you ever do as a young gay, queer, trans person. But in coming out, take that brave step forward and you share with the world that you are different. You're one of those people, right? And all of a sudden you stop being scary because they love you. When I came out, my father said, I hate it, I will never accept it. My mother said, you're disgusting and unnatural, I hope you get AIDS and die. Well, my partner of 20 years and I split up 3 years ago. I called the family to let them know what happened. My father said, don't do a thing. And he got on a plane and flew from Ireland to talk us out of breaking up because he loved my partner that much. If I can change my Irish father's point of view, then we can change anybody's point of view. So just in coming out and being who you are, you affect change. You do it in your family and you do it in your community. By being here tonight, you're showing community. Try to speak out and look after each other. We're a community built on love. That's what makes us unique or different, is that we love differently. But we love excellently and we love well. So love each other, look after each other, keep on fighting. Thank you.
Keep dancing.
Keep going.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. There's placards across the back there. You can take a look at all of the lives that were lost.